Good morning to all. Myself Dr. Nagaraju. I am working as an associate professor in Department of IT, MLR of Technology, Hyderabad. In this session, we are going to discuss about typecasting. Simply, what is mean by typecasting? We already know data type. So, the data type specifies the type of information stored under a variable. Each data type have different sizes. For example, if I create a variable, assume the variable will hold an integer value. In the future purpose, I want to change my value from integer to floating. That means you need to change the data type, or initially your value is a floating value. If you want to reduce the value from floating to integer, that means either changing from integer to float or float to integer or integer to character, any combination. Changing from one data type into another data type is called type conversion or typecasting. So, this type conversion or typecasting is performed in two ways. One is widening conversion. Second one is narrowing conversion. Remember, the name widening means expanding. Narrowing means compressing. So, first we will move to widening process. What is meant by widening process? For example, I have one integer variable. For example, assume int a is equal to 5. Here a is an integer variable. Now, I declared one float variable b. So, within the program, if I assign the statement like this, b is equal to a. Now, what is the value of b? Obviously, the value of b is equal to 5.0. Why? b is the floating point number. The floating point number is assigned with an integer value. So, obviously, by adding 5.0, b becomes a floating. Okay, this is fine. Consider another scenario. For example, I have a variable float, some a is equal to 2.3, and I declared one variable b as integer. Now I assigned b is equal to a. Then what happened? A is the floating value which stores numbers with decimal points. B is an integer value, but the integer value does not store the numbers with decimal point. Then how the value of b? What is the value of b? It leads to an error. This is the two ways of conversion. Clear? Now I will move step by step. First, widening process means the process of converting lower data type into higher data type. What is mean by lower and higher? That is based on the values, based on the sizes. Lower to higher data type. This is called widening process, or also called as upcasting. Upcasting means expanding, and this is also called as type conversion. See this one. For example, if I have a character or a byte, for example, assume if I have an integer variable, the integer is possible to convert into long. Is it possible? Yes. 100% it is possible. Suppose long is converted into float, possible. Float is converted into double, possible. Observe the direction of arrow mark. The smaller data types are converted into larger data type. That is called generally type conversion or widening process. Remember, this conversion is done automatically. You no need to do anything. System done this one automatically. Coming to the previous example, in this case, so nothing you need to write. Blindly, the value of integer is converted into float. The value of integer is converted into float. You are not allowed to do anything. Simply by assigning, they happened automatically. But the problem is in this one, narrowing process, converting higher data type into lower data type. That is called mainly typecasting. What is also called as downcasting. What is the problem here? If you want to convert higher into lower, we lost some value. What are the exactly reverse to this one? So if you want to convert a double value into float value, for example, a double value after the decimal point, a double variable can store 14 decimals. But a float can store only 7. We lost the value. For example, if you want to convert float into long, a floating number consists of some decimal point, but a long doesn't consist of any decimal point. We lost the information. So, we lost this information. Remember, this is not done automatically. The higher to lower is not done automatically. User have to convert explicitly. User have to convert one data type into another data type explicitly, that is manually. How? Very simple procedure. So, variable is equal to, within parenthesis, write down the target data type. Within parenthesis, write down the target data type, again followed by variable. What is the meaning? Simply, this is the variable that is to be converted to this data type. Obviously, this variable is of which data type? This data type. Coming to the previous example, here it gives an error. Now, what is your aim? Your aim is convert the floating A into integer B. So, the procedure is B is used to store the value. So, to which data type you want to convert? I want to convert into integer, int A. I understand the syntax? Now, float A is converted into integer. Now only typecasting is performed successfully. Anyway, even though whether you performed explicitly, what is the value of B? The value of B is 2 only. Even though the typecasting is performed successfully, but the characterization, that is integer only whole numbers, that is not possible to modify. What happened means, instead of giving an error, so it resolve the error and convert higher data type into lower data type. Clear? Now, finally, what we discussed, the main topic is typecasting. So, typecasting means conversion from one data type into another data type. Generally, 2 types. One is implicit, second one is explicit. You can use any names, whatever the names, either implicit to or widening conversion or upcasting, explicit to or downcasting or narrowing conversion. So, implicit means lower to higher, explicit means higher to lower. Implicit means internally, this is done automatically. This is done manually. User have to write the statement. What is the syntax of explicit? So, target data type followed by variable. So, this variable is converted into this data type. Okay, this is the concept of typecasting. Thank you very much.